Indispensable.
Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it. But
increased, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.
All right, welcome everybody to the Master Connector Show. I'm Rob Genovesi, and I'm one of the co-hosts for today's show. And hopefully you're popping in here weekly because we've always got some good conversation, got some wonderful guests, and today's no exception. You know, the Master Connector Show is really and has been started by the Master Connector. You know, Steve, Spiro, and I, we go way back. We were two former shy guys, introverts by nature, both of us scared to death of talking to people. And now here we are about 27 years later, and we are both big-time connectors, very big networkers, talking with a lot of people, as you can see, coming at you live, talking to you, talking to lots of people, but we're doing it everywhere we go. But Steve takes it a little bit further. Steve has become the Master Connector because he is the guy that can anytime, anywhere, any place, anyone, doesn't matter, he can strike up a conversation and create a friend in the moment. It's a really amazing thing that he's done, and I've learned a lot from him. So let's bring him on, the Master Connector himself, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's going on, Rob G? How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm excited for today's show.
Absolutely. And we need to say that today's show has got a sponsor today, right?
We have a sponsor for today's show. Very excited that today's show is sponsored by Russ Hedge Coaching and Consulting. Look, over 30 years of marketing and sales experience. Our buddy Russ Hedge, great friend of the show. He is sponsoring this show. You want to get in contact with him. I'm going to put his website right here. Pop it up on screen. RussHedge.com. Pop on over there. Contact Russ. I just had a conversation with him yesterday, Steve. What a good guy. So really grounded guy who knows his stuff.
Absolutely, for sure. So, well, good stuff. Well, Rob, I appreciate it. It's been a blast getting to work with you after 26 years, but it's been a blessing. But hey, what's going on, friends? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct here on this holiday season. And you know, as we move deep into the holiday season, I can't think of a better topic to talk about than focusing on others, right? And so today's topic is being others focused, right? It is the key to becoming indispensable. And here's the thing, and this is what I could tell you, right? I could tell you for sure that when you add value to people and you are a blessing to people, you do become indispensable, right? And so I'll be a little transparent here. There was a period of my life where I was very wounded. I was bullied, learning disabled, dyslexic, picked on, ridiculed. You know, I remember as a kid, I would go ahead and if they asked me to read something out loud, I would stutter, and it was not good at all. And so having so much of this pain and wounds that I was dealing with, when you're dealing with that, you tend to be self-absorbed, self-focused, because you're really in protection mode. And that's what happened for me. And I'll give you a little parallel, right? So for years, I would sit in front of the TV. Nowadays, I guess binge watch, right? That's the big thing today, right? And I would sit and I would eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Buttered pecan was my go-to. And I still every now and then indulge, but I was doing it regularly and put on a lot of weight. Rob probably seen me balloon up over the years, but it was because I was so wounded. And anyway, long story short, here I am. I'm eating the ice cream. I'm feeling really good while eating it, but afterwards I feel horrible, right? And being self-focused and self-absorbed, to me, that's like eating butter pecan Haagen-Dazs ice cream. It feels good for a little while, but afterwards, it's not really that great. And what happened was, at one point, I finally got some peace within myself. I got healed a bit, and I started to get focused on other people. And this sort of happened all around COVID, and I wound up reaching out and connecting with others and looking to see how I can add value. And every call I'm on, I'm always ending that call with, hey, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things that how can I add value for you? And I think I got outdone today because I was on with a lady in my network. Her name is Jojo Ralicia, great gal, and she's like a ball of fire. And she's like, I'm giving you like 6 different people I want to refer you to today. And we didn't even hardly start talking. I mean, we know each other already. But that's the kind of thing. So when you actually give other people, it actually, maybe being others focused, maybe for a guy like Rob said, shy guy like me, like he is as well, tend to be a little inward focused, but it's hard. Just like, working out for me, the parallel to the Haagen-Dazs story. When I work out, it's hard pushing myself. I do it every morning, but when I do it, I feel great afterwards. And so that's what being other focused is. And so during COVID, reaching out, I don't know, I must have been on probably 10 or more calls, Zoom calls every single day for quite a while. And I'll be honest, I felt more connected than ever before. And I honestly had probably the best 3 or 4 years of my life financially. And I would like to say it's because I was others focused, right? Some other things that being others focused has helped me do, right? It's helped me create the show. I mean, this is not in my comfort zone, guys. In case you're wondering, it's not there. But I did it, and I'm doing it, and thanks for Rob being a part of it too and seeing the vision. But it's because it's another way of serving, a way of being others focused, right? I've created and amassed a very large network. Again, because I'm others focused, it's why I post daily. Every single day I'm looking to add content and some good information for people on a regular basis because it's being others focused. It's also, honestly, it's solidified my desires to be an inspirational speaker. That's another thing that being others focused has kind of done, because I know that now I've got this message and I want to get it out there and I want to inspire people. It's not about me. It's not about my glory. It's about, hey, who could be better off because I've lived on this big blue marble, right? This big fat ball of mud, right? I really care. And I believe that if you become others focused, you will be indispensable too. So we're going to dig into that today. So if you're ready for my man, Mr. Rob G. Introduce our guest. I want you to type in the hashtag right now or in the comments, hashtag let's go. And we're going to get Rob G to bring up our guest.
All right. Thanks, Steve. I'm excited for our guest today. Larry Kaufman is the best-selling author of the NCG Factor, a formula for building life-changing relationships from college to retirement. Larry is a connector, a giver, and a rainmaker who lives his life to help others succeed. He currently is the regional managing director for the Midwest region at Jefferson Wells, which is a Manpower Group company. He's been a globally published speaker and a trainer on LinkedIn for more than 15 years, also known as LinkedIn Larry. He's an investor and advisor to several technology companies and supports various local and national charities. Larry resides in the Chicago suburbs with his wife and 2 children. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Larry Kaufman. Hey, Larry.
Hello, Rob. Hello, Steve. I love the East Coast pronunciation of my last name. It was awesome.
What is it really? How do you say it?
I say Kaufman, but that's the nasally Midwest pronunciation.
Okay, my apologies. It's Kaufman.
I love it. No,
Kaufman.
I love it. You say it much better. Perfect.
Thanks.
So it's such an amazing enigma, right? The different ways that people speak and dialects, I guess, around the country. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
people
pretty
say I got a New York accent. I have no accent. Everybody else has got an accent.
That's right. I'm with you on that. All right. Well, Larry, we're going to dig in here. We appreciate you being on here. It's a blessing and it's an honor, honestly, to be on with LinkedIn Larry. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so community, get in the comments. Make sure you're connecting. Yolanda, so good to see you. Chris Millen, great to have you on here. But Yolanda, thank you so much. We just appreciate you big time. And we're ready to go here. Yolanda has been probably the most loyal, in our community that we have to this day. So she's amazing. But anyway, we want to dig in. We want to talk about being a go-giver. So type in hashtag go-giver, right? We've had Bob Berg on our show, and it's all about giving. It's all about, being a giver, right? So I'd like to know, Larry, what inspired you to become a connector and a go-giver or a giver, whatever? And how has that philosophy shaped your personal and professional journey?
Well, I appreciate that. I think, we look back in our lifetime for me, it was, looking back to my college days, and, I was not a giver, right? You were talking about being sort of self-centered to a degree, right? I think a lot of us in college back in the day, we were like that. At least I was. And so I wanted to impact, the lives of the young adults, right? I counsel a lot and coach a lot of kids going to college, and then they're in college and they graduate, and, they really haven't thought about how do you build relationships, about being philanthropic, about sharing your knowledge. You're really smart, which I wasn't, that you could be a mentor, a tutor. And, it wasn't actually until into my business career, a little over 15 years ago, I met an attorney through a good friend who is a connector. And I wasn't at the time. And I was in a leadership role similar to one today. And I met this attorney, and I was really against meeting an attorney. So anyone who's listening who's an attorney, nothing against attorneys, but there wasn't relevance. But she said, you know what? You have to meet this attorney, Brian. He's going to blow your mind. And he was not a typical attorney, and he was actually a connector. We had a very nice meeting. It was not until the end of the meeting I realized why I needed to meet him, because he said, Larry, it's great to meet you. So something I'm going to do after this meeting, I'm going to introduce you to two people you don't know. I was like, why? He said, because it's going to add to your relationship base. People you don't know, it's going to be very helpful. And I was really, intrigued by that. And I will say a flip didn't switch. And like the next day, everyone I'm meeting, I'm introducing to two people. But it did start to make me think. As I started to meet with people, I started to listen a little bit deeper and started to think about how could I be helpful to them, maybe through someone that I know. And so it did start to launch, but it wasn't immediate, but that's how it started. But it's made a huge impact, becoming a connector, becoming a thoughtful connector, a strategic connector, and it's impacted the lives of others. But when they call you, and you guys know this, when they call you and they email you and they say, oh my God, what a great introduction. And I've made them for love that have turned into marriage, and I've made them for business and help people get jobs, and for in sickness to find doctors. And it is so rewarding, and it's been life altering for me and for the people that I do that with and for.
Wow. Yeah. And, so it's interesting, right? So I want to dig in on Connector, right? We are the Master Connector show. So again, folks, community, get in the comments, connect with each other. Make sure you put in the city and state where you're from. Make sure you're connecting with each other. If you see somebody on the show, go ahead and hit the connect button and connect with them, and make sure you have an offline conversation, because it is all about connecting. But I want you to community, type in #connector, and I see in the background there your book, right? The NCG Factor, right? In the book, you emphasize the importance of building life-changing relationships. Can you share, and kind of digging into what you started talking about, share key principles or strategy from the book that viewers can apply to become a effective connector in their own lives?
The best way to become an effective connector is, you said you got to be others focused. It's a shift. It's very easy when you're in job transition, or you're trying to secure business, that you just want to be all about yourself. And it's the way to become a connector is to learn about the other person. So I have my own quote that I came up with. I share this in my keynotes all over, is if you lead with yourself, you will leave with yourself. If you lead with yourself, you will leave with yourself. And what that really means is, hey, Rob, tell me more about yourself. So I love the accent. You're from, you live in Manhattan. Tell me about where you grew up. Tell me about your family. Sometimes I learn about someone's family, and I end up, helping that person's spouse, significant other, child, just from something I learned about them, versus showing up and throwing up. You can't become a connector if you're talking all about yourself. So the more I learn about people personally and professionally, and I know we'll probably dig into it, but LinkedIn has been amazing, because people put weird and normal things in their profiles that I could just extract. And, like Steve loads it up, right? And he's a cool guy. We're both bullied. and I did some martial arts, but not to the extent like he would hurt me. But
Ah.
putting that in there, that's something we have in common to talk about. Or if you read my profile, I put in interesting things because something in there may be something we connect on philanthropically or some interesting things I've done in my lifetime. And so it's amazing what you could pull out that I could ask you in a live conversation or virtual, and introverts can do this too.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago, you know, as an introvert, as a shy guy, I had to learn how to speak. But then when I learned how to speak, somehow I didn't stop talking. I wouldn't shut up. And I didn't learn what you just said. And that is, you're the one that's got to be the listener. You got to, they say you have two ears and one mouth for a reason, to be a listener. And when I discovered my listening skill after I discovered my speaking skill, things did really start to happen. And, I hop on calls with people sometimes. I do a lot of networking, and they'll say to me right out of the gate, "So, Rob, tell me about your business. Rob, tell me what you do. So what is it you do?" And I'm like, and I've actually said to people, I'm like, well, I said, we'll get to that. Don't worry about it. I said, I have a question for you. How did you come to do what you do today? What's your story? And then I just fold my arms and I sit back. And you know what? People love to tell their story. And when they tell you a story, you learn a lot about people. I don't have to sit there and I don't have to ask 15 questions. That one question opens them up, because now they're like, oh, we're just two people talking. So what you said there just hit the nail on the head for me.
I mean, you
Absolutely.
nailed it, Rob, because when you do get to know people, you hear things and it actually provides an open door to become a connector, because you hear something. If Steve says, "Hey, I want to do more inspirational speaking," and I tell him, "Great, I heard you say that earlier. Can I introduce you to these three people that could help expand your speaking career?" It's powerful.
There you go.
Yeah, it's interesting as us shy guys, and it wasn't until and Rob and I have for years had the same mentor, but on my side, I was encouraged to do a lot of reading, and I know Rob too. He does a lot of reading still to this day, and now I could probably bring up some things that are interesting. But honestly, as a shy guy and as somebody who didn't know if he had a lot of value, I found talking to people intimidating. But the more you ask questions, the more people think you're a great conversationalist, right? It's pretty ironic, right? The less you speak, the more you have them speak, the better you're considered a conversationalist. It's pretty wild. Yeah. So
Totally.
yeah. All right. Well, we want to dig in a little bit here because we got a short show where you're not short, but it's like we want to keep to that 30 minutes window. And so I want to talk about LinkedIn a little bit. Of course, your name being LinkedIn Larry. So let's type in hashtag LinkedIn community. And again, thank you everyone for participating here. And again, we just love your community here for being on with us. But so LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn Larry, that's your name, right? You've been a prominent speaker and a trainer on LinkedIn for over 15 years, right? I know that. And, again, humble to have you on with us here. But how could individuals leverage platforms like LinkedIn to enhance their ability to connect and build meaningful relationships? We were sort of starting to talk a little bit about that. Let's dig in a little bit on that.
Well, it's really an unbelievable tool. I mean, it started out really more as it's a database for people looking for a job, essentially, right? So employers to find talent to find employers, but it's really evolved into a true networking relationship building site. So if people want to get on LinkedIn, you have to build your brand. So when I see a poor profile, no picture, no headline, that not just a title, but who are you? And there's a lot of military veterans out there. I love seeing that prominently displayed in the headline, or if you're, kung fu, jujitsu, or all the crazy things Steve does, interesting things to define yourself, because a lot of people think LinkedIn's a resume. But if you go to my profile in the about section, I put things in there. If I put them on a resume, you would never hire me. You would interview me because you think it's funny, but you would never hire me. And so it gives us the ability to show another side to ourselves, that, you're an author, you're a speaker, you climbed a mountain, you're a triathlete. And really, it's an opportunity to brand yourself personally to a degree and also professionally. professionally, and really using it to find people you went to high school with, college. I work with all these young adults trying to get a job and network, and they're like, I don't know anyone. Well, let's start plugging in and doing some searching on LinkedIn and find people you went to school with that are now in the profession you desire. It is so powerful and underutilized, and it's changed my life. And so when I get the chance to have a one-on-one coaching or a keynote and share the power of LinkedIn, unbelievable results. But you got to do it. But I think it's a great platform. Build a solid profile and then build a foundation network. My recommendation is you want to get to 500 or more connections. Ideally, of people you know, like, and trust as your foundation, and grow it from there.
Great. I will say this one thing that you can do, community, and I know Larry is an expert. I'm like kindergarten compared to Larry. Larry's like, multiple PhDs and so forth in this category here. But one thing I know you could do is you could connect LinkedIn to your emails, and that's a quick and easy way to get that know, like, and trust people, the people that you already know, and quickly connect with them. You just basically you can do what I did early on, is I just basically hit select all, because it comes up and then it has a box you can either click or unclick it. I select all, and then maybe I scroll through it. A few people I didn't want to, I unclick them. And that was a quick and easy way for me to jumpstart getting that LinkedIn decent sized network. Today, obviously, it's pretty large now, but that was a good way to start. And I agree with you, Larry. And if you're in college or just out of college, you are so connected. You need to leverage that. Get everybody, especially if you went to one of these mega colleges, get in there and just connect away, because it's people capital that you have that you're just throwing away if you don't connect with everybody at your college, the grade before you, the grade after you, the grade you're in. I mean, or whatever, it's for sure. Yeah. But
there's so many, when you just said that, Stephen, I was thinking about it, and Larry, you work with young adults, like you said, and, I've got 4 young adults of my own, and 2 of them are out of the house, but one of them is still in college, and she's in her 3rd year. And I know, being a 21-year-old, growing up on social media, growing up on TikTok, on Instagram, all these Snapchat, they understand social media better than probably we could ever, because we had to learn it as a new skill, where they kind of grew up with it, kind of like a toaster oven, just always been around. But they're also a little hesitant, Larry, to get into a place like LinkedIn, because is it just me, or do they feel like there's this gap between where they are, maybe maturity wise, and what LinkedIn is like? It's so businessy to them, right, that they're a little hesitant. Do you find that? And if so, how do you help them overcome that?
There is, a lot of those young adults are hesitant. I have to tell you, even more mature, experienced people like ourselves are hesitant at times to delve deep into it. And, I think there's the younger adults are like, hey, Instagram, TikTok, and all these other platforms, that's where we need to be. And I'm like, you know what? You need to be present here. You know what? There's also this reluctance because I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm not going to be like a business person. It doesn't matter. You need to build those relationships early on. And you know what? A lot of people don't realize LinkedIn is it's a way to, build up your profile, but it's a way to enhance your network, help others. And we talked about also being, connectors, now to be good connectors. You don't have to do it alone. So LinkedIn allows you to find other connectors like Rob and Steve and Larry that could help you help others connect. The way that they overcome LinkedIn is to realize you have to be there. Employers are looking. Anyone that's going to network, they want to look. You're going to get together for a meeting, or you're at an event. People will look you up right on the LinkedIn app and go, oh, boy, Rob doesn't even have a picture. He's got 3 connections. Wow, is he hiding something? Maybe he's hiding from the FBI. What's going on? Poor guy. So I think people have to realize you need to be there. And this is a very easy way to connect, like you said, with your peers that you worked with. If you're more seasoned, to the young adults who they went to high school, college with, it's amazing. Don't be frightened. You can be on all the platforms. If you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's like it becomes, it can be your personal professional website in a way. You know, it's that one spot, for sure. Well, the nature of this show is on it being indispensable, and we really didn't touch too much on that. We did a little bit. So I want to type in hashtag indispensable, and we're gonna wrap things up here. So this is your Brian song, so to speak, on in terms of the last part of what you're going to speak about here, and we're going to kind of wrap up the show here. But so, Larry, being indispensable often involves giving back, right? How do you balance being a rainmaker in your professional life while also actively supporting local and national charities as a part of your commitment to give back? You know, how do you balance the two?
Well, I guess being a rainmaker, I'm in an operational and sales leadership role, but the speaking and just being out there and putting out that vibe that I'm a giver and a connector, things seem to come my way to help other companies with the things that we do. I don't necessarily seek it out. And so it's a natural thing that happens. And, being philanthropic, I've been a speaker where we aligned it with my charity of interest. And so there wasn't a fee, that it was, if you want to attend and hear me speak, you're going to contribute to my charity and do something good for these sick to terminal kids in hospitals. I have a lot of people that ask me to help their charities in different ways. And so I find out what's important to them, what they're passionate about, and maybe their charity. And sometimes the charitable giving back is helping someone's child or helping someone's spouse. And so the balance is, it's still getting to know people. Being indispensable, I want to tie that into it, guys, because I will talk to someone. I'll say, by the way, I want you to leave here today with us talking, remembering me is an indispensable relationship of yours. Someone that you could reach out to for something that's traditional that you or someone in your world needs or not. Like, you don't know where to go. I want to be that go-to. And I try to instill that with my teams and the people I coach, because the more you become indispensable to your company, to your staff, to your manager, to your family, it's powerful, and they will come to you. And I get requests, the weirdest things and just traditional, but I love it. And so it all works together, and it's powerful and rewarding.
Awesome.
Great. Well, good stuff. Well, so hey, we appreciate having you on here. What's the best way for our community to reach you? And if you have any final, maybe sentence or two that you want to throw out to people, and what's the best way they can reach you?
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. So here's what I'll tell you. Get out there on LinkedIn, type in Larry Kaufman in Chicago. I'm in all caps, and that's the best way to find me. Reach out, send me a custom message that you heard me today. So click on my profile and connect and send a nice message that, I was on the Master Connector show today. And so that is the best way to reach me. And I think imparting, get out of your shell, get on LinkedIn, really develop your brand on LinkedIn and your presence, but start to think about other people. When you meet people, start to ask them questions. The best reward after you're talking to people is Steve goes, wait a minute, Larry, I don't know anything about you. You've been asking me all these great questions. That's powerful, because now you could take that and you could turn it into doing something for that other person, and it will come back to you. And it's amazing. So those are my parting words, and don't show up and throw up.
I appreciate that. Well, listen, LinkedIn Larry, great having you on here. We really appreciate you. We're going to ask you Rob's going to bring you into the green room if you want us to hang around for a few minutes, and we can say hello and goodbye at the end personally, but appreciate having you on here. Community, definitely make sure to grab some time with LinkedIn Larry for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
That was really great. But, listen, one of the reasons that Steve has this show is because he's got a lot to share. And I'm going to tell you, one of the wisest things I ever heard one time was said by somebody who was trying to give me some direction. He said, look, Rob, if you want to be great, if you want to be successful, read the thoughts of successful people in the form of their books. So I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to pick up Steve's book, The Tao of a Master Connector. We're talking about a guy who has an overcoming story. When you want to learn from somebody, you want to learn from somebody who has been kicked, knocked down, who's gotten back up time and time again, kicked butt and succeeded. That's the story we love. It's the greatest story, to hear somebody overcome, become what they were meant to be. And that's what this book is, The Tao of Master Connector. I'm going to put the link in the chat. You should all pick it up. It's on Amazon. You can pick up, I think, an Audible version too right now. Is available, Steve?
Recently, within a month. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Really, really do appreciate that. And yeah, it's been an honor and a blessing. And listen, you know, we're excited to serve our community. We're very grateful and thankful of our community. And really this show is just one way in which we could show that and give back to you and just bless you and serve you. Right. So thank you again for being on here. Again, thank you, Rob G, for being a great friend and being a big part of the show. And we just appreciate having you on here. Obviously, always kudos to Mr. Cameron Toth, who helped, formulate the show. We miss having him on the show, but we're excited of the new phase that this show has taken and the new life that this show has taken. But we are going to be, obviously everyone, not everyone, but a lot of the world is celebrating Christmas. So we will be taking a break the week between Christmas and New Year's. So do not look to tune into us the next Wednesday, but a week from this Wednesday, we will be on Wednesday, January 3rd. We'll be back again. And now, everyone talks the New Year's resolutions and all that. Well, this show is going to be how to achieve peak performance with special guest Riley Jarvis. So it's going to be great. And I see Rob, thank you for putting that up there. Go get the link, grab it. And of course, if you haven't got to, go to masterconnector.show. That shows you all the different upcoming shows. You can go and register for them and see what they're about. And of course, if you're having trouble finding the live link to get to see this live every week, the week of the show that we're doing, the day of the show especially, you can click the live link right there from the website if you're having some trouble finding the live here. But LinkedIn's done a way better job of making sure the live is accessible. One way you could do it, just so you know, is you can go to my homepage on LinkedIn, and then the top banner across right near my ugly face, that turns into the live at the time at 1 o'clock when we go live. But anyway, listen, remember, it's a crazy world out there. We want to be, that sort of light in the darkness, right? My mission on this planet is to be the light, uplift and inspire and encourage people. And, of course, in this holiday season, there's a little bit of extra special hope, but there are also people that maybe have lost some loved ones during this time, or maybe they don't have anybody in their life, right? So let's make sure to go out there, encourage people. Remember, it's not about tearing people's buildings down to make your building taller. It's about building everyone up, and that's what we love to say. And as I always say, let's be the light.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives